again as Fleury escapes. Right wing side at 2-on-1. Fleury shooting, save made, rebound. Never got the shot away as Flaherty was diving across.
Both team with terrific opportunities in the overtime period. Both goaltenders giving up rebounds.
Here's another break. Larionov with Ozolic. Larionov fakes the shot. In on goal. Couldn't get the shot away. Makarov. Side of the goal. Scores! Ray Whitney. The San Jose Sharks have done it again. Round one last year. Round one this year. Seventh heaven again for the San Jose Sharks. While the playoff first round agony continues for Calgary.
Looking at the roster for the 1995 San Jose Sharks, the best word to describe them may be average. That's not a slight to the skill that Larionov, Whitney, and Janney brought to the team, or the tenacious effort that the rest of these underdogs possess, but when you're a 7 seed, it's hard to be labeled as anything else. Though, these Sharks were labeled as something else. Giant killers. In 1994, these same Sharks were able to knock off the number 1 seeded Detroit Red Wings in one of the greatest upsets in playoff history. These Sharks were able to continue carrying that giant killer moniker after defeating the Flames. Let's have a look at the Flames lineup too. Along with the skill of Nieuwendyk and Fleury, this team had some awesome hockey names like Zarli Zalapski, Trevor Kidd, and even a surprise appearance from Wes Walz. Though this team had skill and sweet names, key parts of this team were aging, and after the loss to the Sharks, the team's fortunes were uncertain at best. Well, all done. Easy David and Goliath hockey story covered. Well, not quite, as these teams would meet a little later with a whole lot more to play for. The Sharks' seasons since the fateful playoff series with Calgary in '95 were up and down. They were trending in the right direction before the 2003 season took a turn for the worse, causing the Sharks to miss the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. 2004, though, would see them jump back on the right path with a second-place finish in the Western Conference during the regular season and a Pacific Division crown. Their journey through the 2004 playoffs as Pacific Division champs started by dispatching the Blues in 5 games, as they got retribution for 2001, where their early exit came at the hands of these same Blues. A date with the 4-seed Avalanche was next for the Sharks, and it was a date they would happily take, as they took care of the faded empire of the Avs in 6 games. The stars of this team consisted of a young all-star by the name of Patrick Marleau. His veteran assistant captain, Vincent Damphousse, played all 82 games at the age of 36. Mike Rathje played well enough in 2004 to garner some Norris recognition for best defenseman. A young budding star in the making, Alex Korolyuk, was a little over a point every other game player for the 63 games that he played this season. While in net, Evgeny Nabokov had a stellar .920 save percentage and placed 6th in Vezina voting, with statistically his best season of his career thus far. The rest of the Sharks roster was balanced. You have your typical grinding bottom forward line with the likes of Mike Ricci and Scott Thornton, along with a young solid defensive group with youngsters such as Brad Stewart, Kyle McLaren, and Scott Hannon. Mike Rathje is the only player on this entire roster to have experienced the playoff series against Calgary in '95. The Sharks had, in their mind, made some inconsequential changes to that lineup over the past years. The head coach, Daryl Sutter, a backup goalie by the name of Mika Kiprusoff, and a bottom 6 forward named Sean Donovan were the victims of these changes. Sutter was given the boot after the losing start of the 02-03 season, but he quickly found a job short after. I'm sure he didn't get hired by anybody important, though. Oh no. As for Kiprusoff, he got traded in the fall of 03-04 for a second-round pick, who became Marc-Edouard Vlasic. That's a pretty good steal, as Vlasic still plays for the Sharks to this day in 2024. Again, I'm sure they sent Kiprusoff to some Eastern Conference team, right? Just so he couldn't, are you kidding me? Okay, surely Sean Donovan wouldn't go too far. He was traded to the Avalanche. Good, not Calgary. With a first-round pick? Really? Who'd that turn out to be? Oh, come on, Alex frickin' Tanguay? I guess they did get Mike Ricci, who is a big part of this 2004 lineup. Wait, there's more to Donovan's story? Okay, cool. All right, he got sent away from Pittsburgh at the deadline in 03. Where to? What? For the Flames, those three found great success, almost instantly, as the Flames were more than welcoming of San Jose's so-called rejects. The history of the entire franchise, though, is a little different than these success stories. As for the franchise, they've struggled since that meeting with San Jose in '95. Like previously stated, this team's future was relatively uncertain after the '95 season, though I don't think any Flames fans expected a drop this harsh. The seeds of the Flames' rebuild can be traced back to the trade of Captain Joe Nieuwendyk in December of the '95-96 season. He was dealt to Dallas for a perennial third-liner, Corey Millen, and a good young prospect. This prospect had big shoes to fill, though, seeing as Nieuwendyk was the cornerstone of this franchise since the start of the '90s. The Flames' rebuilding fate was sealed for good in 1999, when they dumped their captain at the time, Theo Fleury. The only notable thing the Flames got back was a second-round pick, which became Jarrett Stoll, but he never played a game for them. This trade overall seemed to be a big loss for the Flames, though they did get future considerations from Colorado. But those usually never turn into anything. Wait, you're telling me they got Robin Regeer from future considerations? Good job, Calgary. Wait, I almost forgot. Who was that good young prospect they got back for Nieuwendyk? You're kidding me, Jerome McGinley? Wow. Well, that young prospect turned out to be more than a cornerstone for the franchise. He became the whole franchise. Though they picked up prospects along the way, the team's success was absent till 2004. In the 2004 season, Calgary made the playoffs for the first time in 7 years, as a 6th seed, just like the last time they were in the playoffs. Luckily for them, the playoff result was not the same as 1996. Unlike the Flames of '96, Calgary's playoff run started with a thrilling back-and-forth series with the Vancouver Canucks, where they toppled the Northwest Division champs in 7 games, on the back of Marty Gelinas' Game 7 overtime heroics. Like the Sharks, the Flames faced off against the other '90s hockey staple in the Red Wings. The series looked to be another back-and-forth series, but the elite goaltending of none other than Kiprusoff, and surprise, surprise, an overtime series decider from Marty Gelinas pushed the Flames to the Western Conference Finals. McGinley was a superstar from the moment he left Dallas, but 2004 was maybe one of, if not his peak year as a hockey player in Calgary. On top of the All-Star selection and decent points tally, McGinley brought home some personal hardware in 2004. He joint won the Rocket Richard Trophy for most goals, and also won the King Clancy Trophy for his efforts in the community. From being involved in all the Flames community projects, along with donating $1,000 for each goal he scored in the '04 season. On top of that, he finished second in MVP voting only to Marty St. Louis of the Tampa Bay Lightning. The veteran Marty Gelinas was Mr. Playoffs for this team and averaged just about a point every other game for the Flames in the regular season. Monador was a stout young defenseman who may not have contributed a lot of offense, but was good when healthy. Craig Conroy is probably the most overlooked part of this team, as his quiet regular season didn't reflect his great postseason thus far. Last but certainly not least, Miikka Kiprusoff was a literal wall in net for these Flames, with an otherworldly save percentage of .933, and a rightful All-Star nod, with an oh-so-close second-place Vezina vote for best goalie in the league. The Flames' full lineup had a very similar structure to the Sharks lineup, but with a bit more grit in the bottom 6 forward group. Again, not a huge amount of offense coming from the defensemen at the back end of this team, but their top 6 had the offensive points covered. Sean Donovan is the only combatant left over from the '95 series between these two teams. This time, he's on the opposite team in Calgary. Donovan wouldn't be the only one, though, that hadn't forgotten what had happened in '95. As for Flames fans, they were more than ready to see their team get some revenge for the upset that had happened at San Jose's hands just 9 years earlier. The goal of these combatants is to make their respective sets of eager fans and entertaining mascots proud. And with that, the stage is set for a thrilling, intense series between two teams searching for peak success that's long been absent. Only one of these two teams, though, can compete in the 2004 Stanley Cup Finals. Game 1 in San Jose started off with a physical feeling out process for both teams, but San Jose had the lion's share of the offensive pressure. That is until the physical game got a little too physical, with Scott Thornton taking the first penalty of the series. Calgary wouldn't mount much on their power play till a penalty is called on them to even things up at 4 apiece on the ice. Both teams would then share good scoring opportunities with the goalies looking sharp. That is until Krzysztof Oliva puts the Flames on the board first in San Jose. Shots aplenty in the first, but a big lack of discipline from Calgary big men Chris Simon and Chris Clark puts the Flames at a 2-man disadvantage, giving the Sharks life back into the first period. The penalty was killed, but not before San Jose could pile on the shots. Then, with a minute 26 left in the first, the teams would play 4-a-side again. Calgary took advantage of the open ice as Craig Conroy slotted home a beauty to put the Flames up 2 to close out the first period. The 4-on-4 finished with San Jose pushing for one, and they do indeed find the back of the net through a Mike Ricci tap-in. San Jose continued to fight back in attempts to tie this game as the offensive chances go back and forth, until Todd Harvey finds the back of the net on a tip-in that fools Kiprusoff late in the second period to tie the game at 2. Through 2 periods, it is a miracle as to how this game is tied while looking at the shot comparison in Game 1 thus far. Kiprusoff deserves a big pat on the back for this game being as close as it has. To start the third period, both teams get good looks as they pile some offense on until Nils Ekman trips up a Flame to give Calgary the man advantage a quarter of the way through the third period. Calgary doesn't muster much as they only get 1 shot on net during the power play, but the momentum from the power play carries over as they pour on more shots Nabokov's way. And then the dam finally breaks as Craig Conroy tees one up to blister it past Asia Bodies and Nabokov to give the Flames a 3-2 lead at the midway point of the third period of Game 1. San Jose, however, would fight back and throw pucks at Kiprusoff until eventually a sweet shot from Korolyuk combined with a puck that has eyes beats Kiprusoff high glove to tie the game, as this one's headed to overtime, folks. San Jose's momentum from the end of the third would carry over into the overtime period, as they peppered Kiprusoff and the Flames as they would hold firm all the way to the 2-minute mark of overtime. And then
Clark behind the net with Simon, trying to power his way in front. Down went Simon, no call. And there shouldn't have been there. Here's Iginla. Jerome Iginla looking for a chance, coming late. Monador scores! Steve Monador is your hero in Game 1 as the Flames strike first in the Western Conference Final.
the unlikely hero, Steve Monador, who had 3 points all season, comes up big as he finds himself with not just acres of space, but a whole universe of space because of a bad change by Scott Thornton and Jonathan Cheechoo. Even with lots of space, Monador still had to thread the needle with his shot, and he did just that as the Flames take Game 1. To put it bluntly, Nabokov and Marleau struggled in Game 1. Nabokov had a save percentage 28 points worse than his regular season average. He was 2 for 2 on the penalty kill, but that means nothing when you lose a game and allow 4 goals. Which is just the first time in 8 games Nabokov had allowed that many. The last of those instances coming against St. Louis all the way back in Game 3 of the first round, in a game that they also lost. As for Patrick Marleau, he had only 3 shots on goal in almost 24 minutes of ice time. This would also bring Marleau's point drought up to 4 games, not tallying even a single point since Game 3 of the second round. The Stars would need to step up for San Jose as they look to give their home fans something to cheer about in Game 2 at the Shark Tank. And just like that, Calgary gets on the board through Marcus Nilsson's blistering slap shot. 1-0 Calgary. San Jose tries to push for an equalizer, but halfway through the first period, it's the former Shark who gets some retribution against his old team and slides the breakaway goal past Nabokov. San Jose again drives to equalize, and their efforts would be partially rewarded as they force Calgary to take a penalty, but that power play would last all of 18 seconds as Domfus puts the game to 4-a-side for a minute and a half. Nobody can do anything with the open ice, and Calgary can't take advantage of the 18-second power play that they get. More penalties, but this time they offset and we stay 5-aside. As the period ends, Calgary pushes for the nail in the coffin, but can't get any more past Nabokov. To start the second, the Flames take another penalty, and again, San Jose can't get anything going on it. Then a breakthrough goal for San Jose as Alan McCauley nets his first of the series as San Jose gets within one. The Sharks can't stay out of the box though, as they gift Calgary a power play opportunity at the 13:10 mark of the second. Both teams would have offensive opportunities on Calgary's power play, but the goalie stood tall and kept the game 2-1. The back and forth would continue after the power play until the third quarter mark of the second period, when Calgary takes yet another penalty. But on that power play, it would be Calgary who would gain momentum, as they'd be the only team to register a shot during San Jose's power play. Calgary gains a couple more shots as the period winds down, but can't get the distancing goal as we head to the third period. The physicality picked up in the third as the shot chances dwindled opposite the heavy hits. That is until Ville Nieminen slots that distancing goal for Calgary to give them a 3-1 game lead and quite possibly a 2-0 series lead, barring a San Jose comeback. That comeback would be hard to dream up, considering San Jose's lack of history with comebacks these playoffs. They had 3 occasions where they had the ability to come back and do a game. The first of which was against St. Louis in the first round, where they were down 2-0 heading into the third. They lost that game 4-1. The next was a successful comeback against the Avalanche in round 2, where they came back from down 1 in the second. The final comeback opportunity was from the last game against Calgary, where we all know they lost in overtime. So overall, things don't look bright for a San Jose comeback. But maybe, just maybe, they could muster up something. Yeah, about that comeback, Calgary then proceeded to put the nail in the coffin of Game 2 as Jarome Iginla finds the back of the net for his 7th goal of these playoffs. Now knowing the game's scoreline is out of reach, things get chippy between the teams. Toward the end of the game, both teams take an offsetting penalty with an additional penalty given to San Jose, as a Calgary man advantage would play out just about the rest of this game. An inconsequential shot is taken on Nabokov as the score would stay 4-1 till the final whistle. Calgary mobs Kiprusoff as he now leads them to stealing both games in San Jose, and tonight he only allowed 1 goal on 18 shots. The touted goalie battle hadn't been much of one up to this point. One goalie is played up to snuff, while the other continues to struggle. I'll give you one guess as to which one's which. Their save percentages thus far in the series tell the story pretty well. Nabokov's continued struggles saw his save percentage fall 50 points behind Kiprusoff's in Game 1, and a whopping 144 points behind in Game 2. Even their average save percentage over the 2 games is almost a 100-point difference. This graph may help visualize how drastic the difference in goalie play has been thus far. The 2 dotted lines on this chart are the 2 goaltenders' average save percentage during the regular season, as that's a good estimate of the goalie's average play. As shown through the previous numbers and this chart, Nabokov is playing well below his average, while Kiprusoff is actually overperforming compared to his regular season. I guess retribution is truly a powerful fuel for the fire. The question then becomes, would Nabokov be able to bounce back? Does Kiprusoff regress to the mean? And how do the Sharks find their way back into this series? To start Game 3, the announcers would touch on the goalie battle.
Evgeny Nabokov really wants to bounce back. He was asked the other day about this battle between him and his old teammate Nikita Kiprusoff, and he said, I've had enough. He's got to go out here and set a tone early for his club, make the saves you're supposed to make.
And this guy just has to sit back and just do more of the same thing, although it's interesting. He's had more wins on the road than he has here at home throughout the playoffs.
Back of the net, Thornton cross-check Warner, creates some space. Well, Scott Thornton already playing like a man possessed in this game. Shot's not off! Rebound post!
The Sharks controlled the majority of the start of the game. That would be made evidently clear when Scott Thornton rings the post with a shot. A shaky start for Kiprusoff and the Flames is just what the Sharks had worked for. The Flames tried pushing back after the scare in their end, but Nabokov was up to the task, while the Flames just couldn't seem to get out of their own heads.
Yell will leave it. Jelena will leave it. Wow, all that time to lead to a turnover. Wouldn't this be something if it resulted in a goal? And it's loose. Wow. Brilliant. This is a full-blown 3-on-2 with Hannon and Damphus. Here's Korolyuk. Oh, what a move. Backhander and stopped by Kiprusoff.
The period ended well for San Jose with this nice toe drag from Korolyuk.
Nieminen across the line for Nielsen. Forget about it. They're offside.
What happened to Davison?
Well, Davison gets speared by Nieminen as Calgary starts the rough and rowdy at the beginning of the second period. Nieminen stuck him good too, and he even got away with it. But they weren't the only ones, as Damphus gets away with a blatant hook on Donovan behind the play. With each team taking shots at each other, it seemed like Calgary came out the better. That is, until...
And the Sharks look to break. Davison leading the rush to Korolyuk. Marlowe is there as well. Here's Damphus coming late and scoring. Vincent Damphus.
A quick breakout by the Sharks and a good entrance into the zone allows Alex Korolyuk to find the trailing Damphus, who puts a beauty of a backhand past Kiprusoff. And the puck must have had eyes because it found its way through lots of bodies in front to give the Sharks a 1-0 lead.
9:01, the time of the penalty. Flames' second power play in the game. Ferentz looking for the tip from McGinley, stopped by Nabokov. And the Sharks can't clear. Leopold off for Conroy. Goes back for Ferentz, shot.
He's playing wing instead of center here, and he had one of those opportunities to get out in the first as well.
One-time shot from the angle is stopped. And the rebound of San Jose, and another chance to clear that they can't. The Sharks are very fortunate to have a 1-0 lead, the way they've played their own zone, especially here in the second period. Another example right here. All sorts of problems behind their own net. Can't clear again. Ferentz able to keep in. San Jose's bound to get burnt at some point, and Nabokov reaches back.
What a save that was by Nabokov, but Calgary's ability to keep this puck in the zone allows them to create some sustained offensive pressure. That all happened because Nabokov made a mistake, but man does he totally redeem himself with an absolute robbery of Commodore with the glove. That save gives us a little preview as to the quality of goaltending we'll see the rest of the night, as the Sharks keep their 1-0 lead late in the second.
Speaking of which, here's Marlowe, 1-on-2, leads to Nabokov. Here's a chance, the glove save by Kiprusoff. Got the second.
Great save by Kiprusoff to keep the Flames within touching distance going into the third.
Calgary looks to go a little transition game. Defense to offense. Conroy cuts to the middle. Shot second. And the rebound off the skate of Jelena.
Nabokov stonewalls Conroy as he responds to his critics from games 1 and 2 as he's bounced back in a big way for San Jose. He even takes a big bump from Jelena, but that doesn't faze him. The pushing and shoving from the start of the second found its way into the third as the Flames looked to build some more momentum and tie the game. Chichu would have some more words for Iginla though, as things would start to heat up in this crucial third period.
Rafchi picked off. Jelena. Off the side, where is it?
Calgary comes within inches of finding the tying goal if not for the skate of Nabokov, who'd have to put on a clinic in the final minutes of the third if he wanted to steal this win for San Jose.
Comes away, will take his time, tipped at center, here's Oliva. It's the next move by the tough guy. Conroy will get to it, all the way back to the point. Shot stopped, Jelena was there. Even it. Nilsson's all alone, there he is, off his skate. Stop.
Nabokov shuts the door on the Flames and his efforts would be rewarded.
Quick pass save Nabokov, and the rebound was there momentarily. Here's Alexander Korolyuk on a flat-out breakaway and scores! Backhander up top, and it's 2-0 San Jose Sharks.
Calgary's chance develops off a shark-on-shark collision at center ice. Calgary would then take advantage of that collision as they would easily enter the zone. They'd get a quick shot away, but Nabokov would be there to answer. A turnover in the corner allows San Jose to spring Korolyuk, who is off and running as he beats Kiprusoff with a beautiful backhand. After, San Jose would be looking to find the empty net to seal the game, but they'd have to wait just a little bit longer.
Regier gets to it. Net remains empty. SportsCenter is coming your way next, and they will follow a 3-0 score. Korolyuk, the empty netter, and now more of the nonsense.
Well, the Sharks found their way back into the series through the masterful goaltending of Nabokov, which had been massively absent in the first two games. But in Game 3, Nabokov was well above his regular season average and a whole 200 points above last game's performance. Kiprusoff did end up regressing closer to his mean with a .913 save percentage in Game 3 with 21 saves on 23 shots. For Nabokov, that shutout was his third of the postseason, joining Kiprusoff and Belfour in second place behind Habibulin with 4. Those 35 saves in the shutout victory in Game 3 ranked fourth most by a goaltender this postseason, only behind Belfour, whose shutout came in Game 3 of the first round against Ottawa, Kiprusoff, who shut out Detroit in an overtime victory in Game 6 of the second round, and Thomas Vokoun, who had a staggering 41 saves in a regulation win against the Red Wings in Game 4 of Round 1. So far, this skillful series had been relatively tame, barring the ending of Game 3, but the heat was going to get turned up a notch, and the water was going to get hot, as those tempers would flare into Game 4. A small amount of back and forth to start the game leads to Calgary taking the first penalty, setting up a San Jose power play who had just tallied their first power play goal of the series last game. Unfortunately for them, they'd only tack on one shot during the man advantage. More of the rough stuff occurs as the ref is forced to take one from each team as offsetting penalties were called a couple minutes before the halfway mark of the first. Calgary then got the man advantage but couldn't mount a shot on net during the power play. More discipline issues for the Sharks sees themselves shorthanded again and again. Calgary can't mount a shot on their man advantage as San Jose seems to be the team taking control of the game early. That is until Nabokov elbows Sean Donovan, giving Calgary yet another power play. But Nabokov does his job as he stops the necessary shots to kill the power play and see out the period, keeping the score at 0s going into the second. Calgary would look to come out with a jump, but Mike Rathje of the Sharks finds the back of the twine to give San Jose another 1-0 lead in Calgary. Calgary would fight back though, knowing that they need the next one. This pushback would cause Sharks defenseman Jason Marshall to go to the box and give the abysmal Calgary power play an opportunity to redeem themselves. Their power play would stay abysmal though, as they only managed one shot during the man advantage. With the momentum of the penalty kill, San Jose presses for another, but the captain Jerome McGinley had other ideas as he ties the game to give Calgary some life and hope in Game 4. That hope would be lost as a goaltending error from Kiprusoff sees the puck end up in the back of his net through the hands of one Jonathan Chichu, who had been quiet for most of the series thus far. Calgary would take the lead in the shot department, but a penalty by Chris Simon puts the Sharks on the power play for the second time this game. Calgary seemed to be in control of the penalty kill, with the Flames having the only shot on net. That is until Vincent Damphousse slots one home a minute and 18 seconds into the power play for San Jose. They'd happily take their 2-goal lead as their power play has finally clicked into gear and have scored 2 power play goals in as many games. San Jose smelt blood in the water now as their momentum causes Calgary to make way for the seemingly hot San Jose power play with a high sticking penalty. The Sharks power play unit cooled off though as they mount some shots but no goals. This penalty kill, however, sparked the Flames as they would try and push back for a goal. But a lack of discipline kills any momentum the Flames had built, and that seemed to be a theme to the end of the period for the Flames. They make some progress, but their own mistakes dead any further steps they try and take. Another example of this comes in a great penalty kill mixed with another penalty taken by the Flames to give the San Jose power play a 2-man advantage, but this time it's only for 7 seconds. These 7 seconds of 5-on-3 are dealt with well, then with 18 seconds left in the Regeer penalty, San Jose gets their second power play goal of the game. This time, Marleau finds the back of the net as the captain scores his first goal in 7 games. At this point, Calgary just wants the night to be over. Calgary's need to end their suffering showed as Nieminen tussled with Marshall to end the second period. Nieminen's fight wasn't going to be the last of the desperate cards the Flames would play, though. To start the third, Daryl Sutter desperately tried to spark his team with a goalie change, as his star goaltender Kiprusoff was swapped for the veteran Roman Turek. The goalie change gave a new flame to Calgary and saw them control the shots for most of the first half of the third period, when offsetting penalties are called as tensions heat up again due to Calgary's newfound efforts. Those efforts would be rewarded when San Jose takes a high-sticking penalty. Calgary's persistence saw them add some shots to make it respectable. As Calgary continued their search for a power play goal, San Jose's temper flared as Korolyuk goes to the box to give Calgary a short 5-on-3. The 5-on-3 does no damage to the Sharks, but the Flames would continue their barrage on Nabokov's net until Nieminen sits in the sin bin and sets up another San Jose power play. Both teams mustered a shot on the Sharks' man advantage as the game goes back to 5-a-side. That is until Jason Marshall takes a penalty and puts the Sharks down to 4 men. Marshall will be shortly followed by his defensive compatriot in Rob Davison, who gives Calgary a big 5-on-3 opportunity. The shots kept coming on the ensuing 5-on-3 man advantage for Calgary, as with 17 seconds left on the 5-on-3, they finally have their power play goal thanks to Chris Simon. The remainder of the Davison penalty is killed off as the difference between the teams is now only 2. That 2-goal difference would be too much for Calgary, and in the game's final seconds, things get nasty as Iginla takes out Nabokov and all hell breaks loose. Misconducts and roughing penalties are tossed at both teams, with Iginla picking up the extra minor penalty to give San Jose a power play for the remaining 8 seconds of the game. They couldn't find a 5th goal, but it wouldn't matter as the game would finish 4-2 and the series is now all tied up going back to San Jose. Advantage, Sharks. Game 5 is off and running as the Flames come out hot, with a quick shot advantage to control the San Jose crowd until Commodore puts the Flames a man down. San Jose's man advantage did nothing to stop the titanic start the Flames were having, as Jerome Iginla finds the back of the net shorthanded and puts the Flames up 1. The rest of the power play is killed off as things go from bad to worse for the Sharks when Marcus Nilsson tickles Twine off the tenacious offensive effort from Ville Nieminen, as Calgary goes up 2 in the blink of an eye. Calgary's momentum wouldn't stop there, though, as they continued to burn the Sharks and force a penalty. But their momentum finally seemed to be hindered as San Jose kills the man advantage. Full strength would see some back-and-forth shots traded until the Flames give San Jose a lifeline back into the game with a Monador penalty. Kiprusoff, though, had other plans as he shuts the door on that San Jose lifeline as the Sharks can't solve Kipper on the power play. As the period comes to a close, Calgary adds one more shot to their total and doubles that of San Jose's for the first period. There would be more Kipper magic to start the second period as he makes this wonderful save to uphold Calgary's 2-goal lead. The Sharks would try and claw some momentum back with a couple more shots Kiprusoff's way until Davison goes to the sin bin for hooking and wipes their momentum slate clean. But a strong penalty kill sees them gain that momentum back and some. As San Jose pushes for their first goal of the night, Kiprusoff puts the team on his back with some immense saves that propels his teammates to put some offensive pressure on Nabokov at the other end. And boy howdy did it work as Craig Conroy slots home the Flames' 3rd of the game and his 5th of the postseason as Calgary looks out of sight in San Jose. Jelena takes a penalty that the Sharks register 2 shots on, neither of which change the goose egg looming over their heads on the scoreboard. Jelena finds himself in familiar territory again as he takes another penalty near the end of the second. San Jose doesn't force a shot to end the period as the penalty would carry over to the 3rd. The carryover power play is futile, but seems to spark some physical play as the hits start to fly. A back-and-forth shot parade starts as both teams take us closer to the halfway mark of the 3rd, as San Jose seems to be running out of time for a comeback. All hopes of a San Jose comeback go out the door when Todd Harvey takes a penalty. Though Calgary couldn't take advantage of said power play, the game seemed to be finished, and it was, as 2 shots from both teams would see out the rest of this game as Kiprusoff and the Flames go into San Jose and shut the Sharks out to take the 3-2 series lead. To add to our chart from earlier, Kiprusoff's shutout of the Sharks in Game 5 is the second lowest save amount with 19 saves for a shutout this postseason. But that didn't bother Kipper as his team was riding high off his performance, and that's all that mattered. And another thing that seemed to matter in this series was where the games were being played, as no home team had won a game thus far in this series. Diving deeper into this odd trend, we find 2 completely different stories. On the one hand, San Jose seems to have an overall balanced record for both home and away games this postseason, while their Canadian counterparts must love playing on the road, and have disappointed the home crowd with only 3 wins coming at home. Another trend that occurred during the series was scoring first. This was highlighted by Sharks head coach Ron Wilson, saying that this series has shown if you get scored upon first, you're probably going to lose. Wilson was spot on with his assessment, as every team that scored first thus far has won their games. These teams must practice in the dark arts of quieting the home crowd because the road team has always been the first one to score. Little did Ron Wilson know that this highlighted trend followed both teams beyond this series, as we can see a side-by-side of how these teams fare when they do and don't score the first goal. And the results are staggeringly one-sided. But will these factor into Game 6? Let's find out. The opening 10 minutes of Game 6 were rather uneventful, but San Jose did a good job of slowing the game down and stabilizing the red-hot home crowd that was eager for a Flames win.
And they have to back off. Marlowe drilled a hard shot that's gloved by Kiprusoff and dropped. Marlowe showing that hard shot of his again, but sharp angle, good distance that time. Jelena is up. Jelena plays it in. Oh, what a chance! But the icing was waved off. Saprikin sets it up and comes in and
what a chance indeed as Chris Simon beats Nabokov but can't beat the post. Calgary were now inching toward that all-important first goal in the game.
Neiman again, feeding it in. Here's a chance in front. Oh, what a chance for Donovan again. He backed it up again. Gotch is on it. Marcel Gotch, center goal. What a save that was by Kiprusoff. Primo, Rob.
San Jose seemed to have the momentum. That is until Curtis Brown takes this high sticking penalty that draws blood. Calgary would try and capitalize on a 4-minute power play that would last the rest of the first period.
Jelena played it back, the shot, knocked down and cleared to the line and out. 1:14 left to play in the first period. Calgary power play, moving up as Iginla, rips it, scores! Jerome Iginla with that full shot.
Something tells me Nabokov might want this one back, but a perfectly placed shot by none other than Captain Jerome Iginla sends Calgary into a frenzy to end the period, and gives the Flames the crucial first goal of the game.
The race forward won by Donovan, trying to go in, nearly did get in, here's a chance! Oh, again, Nabokov makes a fine skate save.
Nabokov responded to the Iginla goal with a great kick save on Nieminen, which seemed to spark something in the other Sharks.
At the line, Stewart, shot, doesn't reach the net, oh, that one did, and kicked out by Kiprusoff. Stopped at the line by McLaren on the other side. Now, here comes the shot, broken stick, right in front of it, and it went through.
The broken stick of Scott Hannon causes his shot to change speeds, almost like a knuckle puck. This shot, though, would cause chaos in front of Kiprusoff, as this puck just kind of glides through everybody, and was almost tapped in, if not for the great defensive stick of Jordan Leopold. Then it was Calgary's turn to have the man advantage, but San Jose were the ones in control, forcing Kiprusoff to make a great save.
Dropped it back, here's a chance, Condor, dismissed. Calgary looking good on the power play now, which is nearly done, 20 seconds left. Looking for a second goal in front of the net. Nabokov down, handled down that time, stopped it. Boy, he's under siege again, Calgary looking sharp. Another drive from the line, that's stopped, rebound! They're gonna get away with that.
Calgary fans didn't forget Game 3, as Korolyuk was hounded with boos every time he touched the puck.
Nilsson kept it in for a moment. Korolyuk shoots it in.
Korolyuk would receive more boos as the period went on.
And they'll move it out. Looking pretty good on this one. Korolyuk made Curtis Brown had 2 minutes. Look at this break. Coming in. Jelena scores! Martin Jelena is having a playoff year of his life.
A great face-off win that had the Sharks scrambling to find their man gifts Marty Jelena his 6th goal of the playoffs, and maybe none bigger as his tally puts 1 foot in the Stanley Cup final for Calgary. These Sharks really needed something, and something fast, if they wanted to get even remotely back into this game and series.
Hannon again. Lost it. Donovan nearly got in. Backing up the play was Ratchi, and he got it down that far side for Ekman. Coming in, got in there. Here's a shot. They score! A beautiful shot by Alan McCauley.
Just like that, the game was back within 1. A heavy rush toward the net and some bodies in front let Alan McCauley pick up the pieces and slot it home to quiet the crowd as it just ekes by Kiprusoff. With the end of the second drawing near, this game was far from over.
And he couldn't make the pass back, but Iginla gets a chance with 5 seconds left. Dumped it over in front. A good play by Ekman coming back. However, it's near the net. Just as the horn goes, they cleared away.
A final rush by Calgary to end the period caused some chaos in front. Nabokov was fortunate that the loose puck didn't end up in his net, or the Sharks' outlook may have been bleak. Regardless, the score was still only separated by 1, and that sets up an exciting third period.
Behind the net, Primo comes out with a wraparound, and here's a chance. And Calgary Flames clear it down the ice in a race war. Coming in, just missed.
Calgary seemed to have the jump in the third, but a textbook flying poke check by Nabokov bails his defense out for getting caught pinching.
Sharp angle, still with it, shot. Through the blue ice, out the other side, and it'll be cleared by Nieminen. Lead pass got in there. Nieminen with the rebound.
A stellar pass mixed with determination sees Calgary find another great offensive opportunity that puts San Jose on their heels. The Sharks look in desperate need of a spark to get their offense going in order to tie this game, And that Nabokov save may just be enough.
However, now it's back in. Ekman gets set. Shoots! They don't. And Kiprusoff makes the save look easy. McGear stopped it, shot it at the net. It was deflected. Loose puck in front of the goal. Here's Yellenani, missed it. Calgary fighting hard to get it out. Stopped at the line. Stewart shot his glove and dropped like Kiprusoff.
The Sharks finally get some pressure going on a shot that spooks Kiprusoff as it drops right in front of him. But what counts is getting the puck past him. Would San Jose's efforts be too little too late, or just right on time?
Played away by Regehr. No, not out. Knocked down along the boards. Back at the line. Kept in. A scramble for it. Marlowe's shot blocked. And the goalie diving. Kiprusoff.
Both teams have fought all season to be put in a moment like this. If you're a Shark, you look to swim a little bit longer in the ocean that is one of the best seasons in franchise history. If you're a Flame, you look to burn bright toward Lord Stanley's Cup and bring immense pride to a whole nation. It means that much more. This, folks, is where legends are made and tales
The other
are
side.
written.
To my left. Crowd on the boards. Can they hang on? 10 seconds. That's all. They get the puck. San Jose looking dangerous. Severing pass. It's over. It's down the ice. It's going to go in the net to boot. This baby is done, and Calgary Flames go on to the Stanley Cup Championship.
Revenge just may be a dish best served hot when you're in Calgary. For some of these Flames, including the coaching staff, it means besting the team that gave up on you and thought they would be better off without you. Although revenge and retribution often taste sweet, it usually takes relentless effort to ultimately get that feeling. In the end, it was that all-around effort that grinded away the victory stone for these Flames. Across from them lay an empty wasteland of emotion, from exhaustion to sadness to disappointment. The best word to summarize those feelings would be hollow or empty, but these Sharks gave it their all, and in the end, fell 2 wins short of the franchise's first Stanley Cup berth. Throughout this series, battles were waged, fights were had, hits were thrown, goals were scored, saves were made, character was built, and like all great playoff series, in the end, respect is shown, with one mountain's peak being just a little bit higher than the other.